Okay, let's keep working our way around the hip and lower body for improved mobility for summer and sports. Next, we're going to talk about groin. So my adductor, or the muscle on the inside of my thigh, is really, really important athletically for how fast you sprint, how fast you cut, how well you load your leg when you jump, and maintaining hip and low back health. So that adductor muscle helps me shift from side to side. If it can't load because it is not flexible enough or strong enough and it stops short, it puts a huge shear stress on your low back, a huge shear stress on your knee, and can put pressure on your hip. So that muscle being flexible helps me if I'm football, basketball, volleyball, and I'm loaded and I'm going to go to a direction, I need to be able to eccentrically load, which means that muscle is long and strong so that I can get this direction. Okay, so once I eccentrically load, which controls how big a step I can take and how much body control I have once I get here, that load of my adductor helps me get into my right butt. Okay, then as my right butt is loaded, now I'm solid, now I'm stable, now I can change direction. If that muscle is short and tight and I stop quick, first of all, I'm here, I have all my butt to use. I get to here, now my low back's gonna take over, my knee's gonna take stress, and I am slow as tar changing direction. So I need that adductor to be really mobile for cutting, sprinting, throwing a ball, pitching, like softball pitching, baseball pitching with the stretch. Like that adductor is huge. In non-sports, okay, so in just general life, that adductor helps control as I take a step. What happens is I take a step and then I shift into that hip. Okay, you don't feel that happen, but it does. So I take a step, I shift into that hip, I load my butt, I have good balance, I have good back support, I have good knee support, and then I can take the next step. If I have a really tight adductor, I don't get into that hip. If I don't get into that hip, we got troubles. So I'm weak, I'm painful, my low back makes up for it, and it acts like a whiplash effect. So I take a step, my adductor can't go, I aggressively hit this side, and I end up with outside of my hip pain, okay, like a trochanteric bursitis. A lot of times, pain on the outside of your hip is because your opposite side groin is not flexible enough. So it can cause a lot of hip pain. It can also cause a lot of back pain because that adductor is a shock absorber when we do things. So it's important that it's mobile. It is not mobile because we spend a lot of time in sitting, and because when we spend time in standing, we tend to stand like this, okay? We stand square, we lock out on our hip, and this is how we live. So that muscle can get short and tight and weak and wreak havoc. In 95% of my labral tears in my hip, that adductor is stuck, okay? Adductor is stuck, hip flexor is stuck. Those two muscles need to move and function very well to keep my hip safe. You do not want a labral tear. That will sideline you for 6 to 9 months. So stretching your groin is huge. So how do we do it? I can start with the most base way, okay? So my feet are wide, okay, wide and square. And I can be here, knees are straight, and I'm gonna just shift and shift, okay? Knees don't bend, I'm shift, so that loads that adductor in the frontal plane or moving side to side. As that muscle attaches, it also rotates. So I need to stretch it rotationally, right? Because it has to rotate when I cut, when I drop step, when I change direction, like when I sprint, when I run, when I reach, like it needs to rotate. So I can be wide and I can shift into my pelvis and I can reach to the right, reach to the left, reach to the right, shifting into that. If anything pinches, stop. If anything bothers you in your low back, stop. Those are two really good reasons to reach out to physical therapy and have somebody look at it. If it pinches, we could potentially have a hip impingement and you are working your way towards a labral tear, and we do not want that. If it bothers your back, what that's telling me is I can't move well enough at my hip, that my low back is trying to take over, and that's going to end badly as well. Now we look at how can I be more aggressive with it, okay? So historically, when kids do dynamic stretches, you'll see them do this, this. Okay, so there's a difference in how to do it, to stretch your adductors or to just go through the motion. Okay, if I'm shifting, I have to stick my butt out and I have to shift, meaning taking your pelvis, tipping it sideways so that I can load into that adductor. If I'm just standing here and doing this, like you're not getting the stretch. So I have to load, pelvis tipped sideways is what loads that muscle. Pelvis tipped sideways loads that muscle. So you can put your hands on your hips right where your leg meets your pelvis, and I can push down at a 45-degree angle to help that stretch, and it focuses it more to the top side of my adductor and takes it away from knee, low back, all that other stuff. So shift, shift. If I want to go another step further into being awesome, I got to get my feet out of it. Okay, so the problem with dynamic stretching as we walk across the gym and do our stuff is that my feet are made up of all these little bones, and their job is to move and kind of react, and I can cheat. So my feet can cheat, and they can take up some of the slack, and they can maneuver to take so that I don't get as much stretch through the muscle. So once I go onto one knee, now I can get stretch in the muscle. So if I'm gonna be on one knee, I have one knee up, okay, one knee out. Now, I can be on the floor, so I'm elevated here. I can also come down to the floor here. Now, when I'm down to the floor here, I should be able to sit up tall, body in the middle. This is stretching like crazy. Nothing is pinching, nothing is bothering my back. I can be here to stretch my adductor. I can rotate forward, stick your butt out, and then come back, drive your belly button forward, forward, stick your butt out, back, drive your belly button forward. That gets us ready for forward and back. Then I can tip side to side, okay? I prefer hands at my pelvis because now when I tip to the right, I can push down and in and get a giant adductor stretch here. So I can tip, because remember, it's the side bend of that pelvis that helps load. I can tip for the side to side, and now I need to rotate. So I'm gonna rotate, 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 rotate. Your pelvis is allowed to move on that leg. We move when we play sports, when we function in life, forward and back, side to side, and we rotate. So if I'm gonna stretch a muscle out to get me ready for any sporting activity, any of life activity, I need to stretch it out in all three planes. So that's a way to do it. If you get to this position and you feel stuck here, this just feels jammed up, then I can still do this stretch, but I need to give myself some more room. So if I move up onto a step and I get a little elevated, that takes the angle out of my hip, and I can still do same stretches, really focusing on what is my pelvis doing, forward and back, side to side, and rotating. No back pain, no knee pain, but mobilizing adductor takes away low back pain, takes away hip pain, makes me a better cutter, and just makes me way more efficient when we're talking about rotational load and side-to-side load in function and in sports. If you are sticky, if something hurts, if trying to stretch this puts too much stress on your back or your knee, this is a big red flag warning sign that you need to get that taken a look at, because what can happen is my body, if it can't move here, will find another path of motion. That other path of motion is not efficient. When it's not efficient, it tears up soft tissue and puts you at higher risk for injury. And why would we want that? So summer is a great time to work on mobility, get a handle on what doesn't go the way it's supposed to, and correct it before we get to fall activities for athletes. And then those of us who are just living adults, like, let's have fun this summer. Let's be able to play pickleball and tennis and walk and run. I need my body to be efficient and move well to do those things. What better way than to start a stretching program, see where you're stuck, and try to fix it. As always, if you have any questions, need any help, give me a call.